Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. Great to be with you today. So, President Biden giving the nation an update on Afghanistan evacuations earlier from the White House in his big news conference. Fox News White House correspondent Jacqui Heinrich has all the details. Good evening, Jacqui.
Good evening to you, Larry. I was in the East Room with President Biden, and one thing was incredibly unclear. It's whether the president intends to use the U.S. military to go out beyond the airport and start conducting military rescue operations for Americans who are unable to get past Taliban checkpoints or Afghan refugees and allies. I've asked the press shop for an on-the-record clarification. I'm still waiting to hear back on that. The president went a step beyond what he said earlier this week, though, extending that commitment he made to Americans to evacuate anyone who wants to leave. Also making that commitment to Afghan refugees who assisted in the war effort. But he was not clear on exactly how that would be carried out. He said so far there's been no problem getting Americans through Taliban checkpoints, but the very documents that refugees would need to get onto these flights are what will get them killed by the Taliban. Here's what the president said that is so vague.
Let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home. Make no mistake, this evacuation mission is dangerous. It involves risks to our armed forces, and it's being conducted under difficult circumstances. I cannot promise what the final outcome will be, or what it will be, that it will be without risk of loss.
Another point worth mentioning, the president claimed there's been no challenge to America's credibility on the world stage among our allies. Listen to this.
I have seen no question of our credibility from our allies around the world. I've spoken with our NATO allies. The fact of the matter is, I have not seen that. As a matter of fact, the exact opposite I've gotten. The exact opposite thing is we're acting with dispatch. We're acting, committing to what we said we would do.
But the front page of the Daily Telegraph in the UK reads, Parliament holds the president in contempt, condemning the dishonor of Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan and of the troops he left behind to face the Taliban. The president claimed we went in together and we're leaving together, but allies seem to be challenging that statement to some extent. The president said he met this morning with NATO allies about how to move forward so Afghanistan can't be used as a future base for a terror attack, but some of his critics say that that should have been worked out prior to the withdrawal. Now, finally, the president said that when the mission is complete, the U.S. will finally draw down its military presence and bring an end to the 20 years of military action in that country. And that also seemed to leave open the possibility that troops would remain in Afghanistan beyond the August 31st deadline, something that he has said consistently up to this point looks like an achievable goal. But this did seem to open that possibility a little bit more, Larry.
Jacqui, look, President said at one point during the presser that there are no al-Qaedas in Afghanistan. And not 10 minutes ago, maybe 12 minutes ago, I was with General Jack Keane on the second floor. He was taping something, and we talked about that. And General Keane, who has covered this beat for Lord knows how many decades, he said there are al-Qaedas everywhere, sprinkled through so many of the Afghan provinces. And the only reason I'm raising that is not just credibility, but the mission here was to get rid of terrorism. So the Taliban may have a government, they're completely terrorist, and on top of that, they're going to harbor al-Qaedas.
Yeah, Pentagon correspondent, National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin actually asked the Pentagon press secretary about that very statement from the president in the briefing that we just heard. She said the president said that al-Qaeda is gone, but yet we don't have a very large military intelligence gathering capability. How can we be sure about that? And is that even true? And John Kirby said, well, what the president meant was that we don't see enough of an al-Qaeda presence to make us believe there'll be some sort of a threat to the homeland. So clearly it seems to be sort of looking for the detail in what the president said, but it was a big statement, and it is being picked apart, and we're hoping to get more clarification as we're seeing more of these pressers come out of the Department of Defense and the Pentagon, the State Department on operationally what we're seeing and measuring that against what the president has been saying in broader sort of bird's eye view terms, because we are seeing some inconsistencies there. Larry.
Yeah, it's hard to cover the beat when you can't get a straight answer. Jacqui Heinrich, we appreciate your efforts very much. Thanks for coming on. All right, folks.